Welcome back to another episode of Blue Blooded. Adam, good to see you on this fine Sunday night. Another virtual session because of the snow. Another one.
It's crazy outside. There's like a foot of snow
You
still
got a
coming
foot?
down. We got a foot.
I got close to it. As of right now, it is Sunday night when we're recording this. I have a scheduled plane out to Utah to get to BYU in about 13 hours. Do you think I'm gonna get on that plane and I'm gonna make it to Salt Lake City on time?
I do think you are going to. I also think that if you don't, somebody from BYU or Utah State might actually drive here and get you. They care that much about
Can
you.
they send a PJ, a little private jet?
Maybe.
They won't do that. My initial flight got canceled on like Thursday night, and I was like, that's not good. All the direct flights to Salt Lake City not happening tomorrow. Maybe it's because of where the planes are coming in and out of whatever. But they put me on a connecting through Denver. I have enough time. I have time to spare through the connecting flight to get there, do what I need to do, get to BYU for the BYU Arizona game, which is maybe one of the best games all year. You can imagine. But we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to get there. Well, I'm going to try.
I'm confident you're going to get there. Hopefully you have great seats to make up for it.
Yeah, I just want to be there. I could sit. I'll sit in the rafters for all I care.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but top 3 environment of the season.
And hosting the undefeated 20-0 number 1 Arizona team. Come on now. Doesn't get
But
better than that.
that's what I mean. Like,
anyways,
he's there in that stadium.
by the time everyone's gonna be listening to this, I'm gonna either be on a plane or I am gonna be home sad. So, but right now it's all speculative. We have no idea. So, anyways, another good episode for you today. Usual segments. We'll talk about title contenders. Talk a little bit about the best mid-major in the country and maybe the best freshman class of all time. Before that, let's get into a couple segments. News and notes around the nation. Let's start with Charles Bediako. We didn't talk about him last week because it just happened with Alabama, former G League player and former Alabama player making his second Alabama debut. We did not get it on the podcast last week, but now we're getting him playing his first game. I forget exactly what he finished with. I think he had like 13 points. He played decent. His first bucket was like this ferocious slam. I saw people on social media, basketball accounts being like, "Oh, here's his debut. What a dunk!" And then everyone was like, "Please shut up. Like, please don't do that."
Wow, what a surprise! He knows how to play.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've spoken about a lot. Everyone I think listening knows my opinions on it. It's not good to have this situation, especially with a donor Tuscaloosa judge granting the TRO. The local county TRO stuff is honestly worse than the overall eligibility issues in general because people blame the NCAA they have to step in. 100% they do, but it's like a legal thing in court that goes beyond the NCAA's control, especially on short term. The TRO is what temporary not temporary restraining order, but temporary restriction or whatever it is. Like they cannot do anything about it during that TRO until their next hearing. So there's a chance that when they have the next hearing, I think it's this week, they say, "Hey, he can't play." And then he played 1 game or 2 games and his college career is over. So I don't like it. He had his debut. He's a good player. Alabama did lose to Tennessee, and Tennessee's social admin absolutely boom roasted them. Said Delaware Bluecoats. Don't know why they chose the Bluecoats.
Ricochet shot it to 2023 G League champs, by the way.
Why the Bluecoats? What about the Sioux Falls, whatever they're called? I don't like. Come on.
Did you see the Bluecoats responded with the 50 Cent like, "What do you say fuck me for?"
I don't get it. But it is something to watch out for. Obviously, if Bediako is going to play all year. Oh, Alabama lost that game in Tennessee, by the way. They lost that without Aiden Holloway and without Amari Allen, 2 of, if not their most important players outside LeBaron. So I think they're a better team than Tennessee. I think they're still a good team that I don't know if they're a national title contender, but they're certainly a Final Four contender, fully healthy and with Bediako on the team. But obviously something to monitor, and we will see how that goes. Any extra words on that situation?
No, I don't think we're going to talk much Tennessee, but they're stacking up some very high-quality resume wins between that one and Houston.
Yeah, Tennessee's a weird team. I feel like this is how they are every year, but we'll see. Injuries real fast. There's a lot of injuries. Most of them have been short-term. Braden Frager at Nebraska, Graham Ike at Gonzaga, Darren Peterson again at Kansas, and then I mentioned Aiden Holloway and Amari Allen at Alabama. All did not play on Saturday in their respective games. All of them feel and seem like short-term injuries. Braden Frager's the only one that we haven't mentioned, I think, really. That's an interesting one. Nebraska was obviously fine, but they have a slightly busy week, would you say, this week? They get to play Michigan Michigan at in Ann Arbor on Tuesday, so tomorrow, and then they have Illinois at home on Sunday evening, which will be an awesome one. But
No,
I mean,
not busy at
Illinois off
all.
off of Keaton Waddle dropping 95 points, so that is going to be a big week for them. They need Braden Frager. They were trying to get him to play this weekend, to my knowledge, so it sounds like he might be able to play these two games. So those are your injury stuff. Mick Cronin, I wanted to add him on the news notes. I wrote down in our notes, Mick Cronin is miserable. That's what I wrote down because they beat Purdue at home on a Donovan Dent to Tyler Bilodeau, what's it called? Flip screen and fade on basically a buzzer beater three from Tyler Bilodeau to win. Purdue was number 4 in the country, and then Mick Cronin gets into the media interview, and he says, I want to thank the Big Ten for giving us 5 of our first 7 on the road and giving us a team pick to win the league on 2 days rest. Really want to thank the Big Ten for that. You would think that they just got their ass kicked when he said that. I saw that the next morning. I went to sleep, didn't see the end of the game, and I was like, oh, they probably got their ass. They probably finished that game, lost by 15 or 20, and they won.
Ryan, I watched Mick Cronin coach Maryland for 10 years. His name is Mark Turgeon.
No,
It's the same thing.
I don't think so. I think Mark Turgeon's a little more calm.
Well, Mick's a little fiery guy, but I mean, these comments are not. First off, talk to his school who joined the conference that is on the other side of the country.
No, it's the conference's fault apparently.
Yeah.
So I thought you just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was hilarious. News notes.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have on here is kind of performance based, which we usually don't do, and we'll do more performance based history and news in a second. But this is the second time in 40 years. This is from Matt Norlander, CBS, and it could be more than 40 years. He didn't go back any further. That you have 3 different teams start 20-0. The other time was in the 2000s. I forget it. It was somewhat recently. I forget what it was in the 2010s. But 3 different teams start 20-0. Miami, Ohio, Nebraska, and Arizona. Just like everyone drew it up. I think it's awesome. This has been one of the best years of college basketball I can remember in so long, between the 3 teams that you didn't expect to be undefeated being undefeated, elite parity at the top, which we'll talk about that with national title contenders, and the freshmen, and just like all the drama in college basketball. And of course, some people, oh, what about the G League guys? There's been like 3 G League guys to play, or 4 G League guys, and there's been international guys, obviously. But this sport feels at an all-time high, and I'm having a great time. And I think that is just a good little tidbit to kind of make you feel good about the sport right now.
This was a really amazing week for college basketball. I think we walked into it thinking there were 4 teams who could win the national title, and we walked out of it thinking there's about 9.
Maybe more.
Right. Two of the undefeated teams wasn't even on their radar that it was possible. So it's a really cool story. Best freshman class possibly of all time. We're coming off a weekend of the biggest performances in the sport's history in one day. Like it was that big of a deal Saturday.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it's only January. Can't wait for March. All right, that's news and notes. Let's get into home court advantage, and then we'll get into all the good stuff.
This week's home court, but home field advantage is the Indiana Hoosiers. And it's not basketball, Ryan. We're running it back. This is the most obvious segment of all time. Home field was literally started coming off the back of a poor Indiana football season. Fast forward 6 years, they are national champions. And by the way, that was a home crowd in Miami.
In the away team stadium as a neutral site.
The away team stadium in the national championship game. I don't really have much else to say. Shout out Fernando Mendoza. Shout out Kirk Signetti. All the Indiana fans. It was super loud down there. And shout out to our home field guys.
And that was a week ago. It feels like it was a month ago, by the way. Like, that's crazy that, I mean, we know we do Mondays and that was on Monday, but that's crazy that was only a week ago from posting this next episode.
Yeah.
Home field. This is for personally, I think more for home field, the company, more than Indiana football. Home field is the best partner ever, and they really are the best vintage college apparel and general college apparel in the game. I can't believe how much they do, and they have just absolutely taken off. They literally, so I found out the story, they had a New York Times article, they had an ESPN interview before the national championship game. Connor, who's 31, by the way, the CEO and founder, when he was at Indiana and they lost a pinstripe bowl game, he made T-shirts and people loved them, and now they're probably, I don't know, millions, whatever. I don't know what they're doing now, but they are getting to status that they never anticipated
Yeah.
either. So
Yep.
shout out
They're
to
a
them.
great partner. They're great people. Really happy for them. And I'm just saying, Ryan, it feels right that Nebraska's undefeated in the year that Indiana won a football title.
Indiana football and the basketball, they just go hand in hand. They make sense. So that's the home court, home field advantage by home field, home court, home field, home court. So there you go. We mentioned that there was some more history going on. We mentioned the freshmen earlier in the episode. We have to talk about it. We were going to talk about it with just Kingston and Keaton. I already wrote it down on Saturday. And then AJ said, "Let me hold my beer for a second." He basically said, and but also Darius Acuff said the same thing. And Nate Ament, it just felt like it was the freshman's day on Saturday. It was the first time ever that since freshmen have been allowed to play college basketball, this was the first time ever that three different freshmen had 40 points on the same day. Keaton Wagler at Mackey at Purdue, Kingston Flemings at Texas Tech, and AJ DeBance home against Utah. It was also the first time ever that two players, not just freshmen, two players had 40 points on the road at a top 25 team, and they happened to be two freshmen, Keaton Wagler and Kingston Flemings.
I mean,
Crazy.
like I said, what a day. And by the way, quick shout out. They didn't even lead the country in scoring that day, Ryan. Who did?
So wait, what do you mean?
Who led the country in scoring that day?
Cal Baptist. What's his name?
Dominique Daniels.
Yes.
Cal
yes.
Baptist, a staple on our sicko schedule. A legitimately good team out of the WAC. 47 points. The senior led the day.
Do you know who's in first place in the WAC right now? Don't look.
I do because they're on the sicko schedule this week.
UT Arlington.
Uh-huh.
Let's go Mavs.
And by the way, guess who they play this week?
Utah Valley.
Cal Baptist.
Cal Baptist. It's one of those three teams. Those are the three teams in the conference.
I'm just saying, Dominique Daniels going for the title.
Three good teams in a 7-team conference might have to compete with the Big 12 for best top.
And that's your WAC talk for the day. But I mean, the freshmen, like, I don't think I'm overdoing this. I think Wagler's performance was the singular most pivotal performance of the season by any player.
Yeah, it has to be at Mackey
on
too.
the road at Mackey. That
in
doesn't
a tight
happen.
game. It's not like they.
By the way,
blew him out.
Zach Edey has never scored 46 points at Mackey.
Really? Well, 46 is crazy. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Zach Edey didn't shoot threes. That's why.
No,
but fair point.
That's the craziest point, by the way. He scored it on 17 shots. Field goals.
I mean, he was what 9 of 11 from three or something like that. The Keaton Wagler thing was insane to me because like you just get off the back of watching Kingston Flemings, and I think the Illinois Purdue game was already underway. So like, oh, let me make my way over to, I think it was on Fox. Let me make my way over to watch Illinois, and I saw Keaton had like 20 in the first half at one point, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta turn this on. I missed the first 20 points. It was like that because I was watching the end of Houston Texas Tech, and didn't have the other one on, and I mean. I watched the whole thing back multiple times from him. Like it really might have been one of the best performances of the season, if not the best, and what we've seen in years. The Keaton Wagler thing, like Keaton Wagler's game, if you took current SGA, current MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and put him on a college court on that Illinois team at Mackey, I think he gives you the same kind of output. Like that's what you get is like 46 points that looks easy on great separation, ISO step back threes. The way he was navigating screens and hunting down switches onto TKR and Clough. Oscar Clough had a rough. I'm not gonna lie, he had a rough day. They were defending him relatively well too, but his little jab step and side steps and back steps to create separation from three and just like shooting over contest because he's lengthy and he's got big arms like. It really looked like SGA. He played very similarly. He's slithery. He's big. He can play make. SGA, I think, would do that on a college floor every night, is what I'm saying. Like, he would give you 46 and whatever on efficient splits every single night. But Keaton Wagler did that looking like SGA. The comp makes sense. I think he was ranked outside the top 200 in the freshman class. Bill Self, this is a Kansas native, Keaton Wagler, 45 minutes from Lawrence, didn't even offer him. And through the offseason, we were kind of hearing things in the Illini camp of like, oh, this kid Keaton Wagler. And at the time, I was calling him Wagler. I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, Keaton Wagler. They were saying they're high on him. They're high on him. When we're talking about Mihala Petrovic and David Mirkovic and the Ivisic brothers and Colin Boswell and Andros Stojakovic, and all of a sudden Keaton Wagler is their best player. We knew that about a month ago. But he is transcending them to a national title contending team right now. Like he is putting them up to levels that you never heard of. They are right now rated the number one offense in KenPom history because of him,
Wow.
because of nobody else. Like they have been absolutely ridiculous, very very much thanks to him. And I think the freshman class in general, Saturday was a stamp of this is the best freshman class ever. Saturday was a
Imagine
stamp of yeah.
watching Saturday and being like, "Oh, I could get AJ DeBanza at number 2 overall."
Or
Like,
Kean and Caleb Wilson and
that just doesn't
Kingston
make any
Flemings at
sense.
5 and 6.
Uh, by the way, Kingston continues to blow my mind because I know they lost that game and JT Toppin was crazy too.
Yeah, it was good.
But like he could, Kingston continues to put that team on his back at every moment.
Man, and Houston, who is notoriously led by their internally developed, experienced junior and senior guards, are being led by a freshman. But it's great because his skill set is better than they've ever had for a guard. His upside is so much better. His talent and ability is something that they've never had at the guard spot. And offense and offensive consistency has been their issue and why they haven't gotten to a title yet. So having someone like this who's getting better and better throughout the year. I mean, how many times have we fucking said this on this podcast? Like I've said the exact same words and I'll say it again. When we were in November, we watched them in Players Era. I said, "Oh, I think you feel good about them even after they lost to Tennessee. This is not the
Mhm.
same Houston you're going to see in January, February, and March." I said it again in December, and now it's January, and I'm saying it again. This is not the same Houston that you're going to see in February. And then in February, it won't be the same you see. They're getting better and better because they're freshmen. Him, not just Kingston, Christian Ack's been good too. They're getting better and better. So I think that's great. It bodes well for their upside of winning a national championship and their offense. I mean, Kingston gives you 42. I haven't seen a Houston player put up anything near 42 in a while, even when they had Marcus Sasser and Quentin Grimes and guys like that. Like, Kingston Flemings is unbelievable. You know that's my guy. He is as all around of a guard as you want. Also, that's the best part of like think about NBA upside perspective. He's
Yeah.
6'5". He's big. He shoots the absolute lights out of the ball. He's confident. The thing I love most about him, obviously, he's a great defender, a good passer. He does everything. He's unbelievable. That's why you go to Houston. You're an elite defender, energy, motor. Like it's awesome. The thing I love about him most offensively is every dribble is with purpose. Not a single time do you see him put the ball down just to like kind of then navigate and survey the area and see what his options are. He puts the ball down on the floor and he's going to work. Even if you think it's just like a sidestep right, he's cutting it back left hard because he went slow right for like everything he does is with intention and purpose and meaning on both ends of the floor, but especially with the ball. And you don't see that very often in an 18-year-old freshman guard. He also loves the mid-range. You don't see that very often in an
Mhm.
18-year-old freshman guard. I love this kid. We met him. I felt like he was just like he was like super friendly. He's so like lighthearted and
He's a
positive.
kid.
He's unbelievable. I'm ranting on him so long. This is the fucking guy. He is
Yeah.
unbelievable. He's so good.
Yeah, he's great. And oh, by the way, very quietly, Cam Boozer 32 and 9 on
I
Saturday.
gotta be honest. I forgot about him. This freshman class. This is without a doubt the best freshman class ever. It's not even It's not even close. It's not even a
Darius
question.
Acuff 31.
31. Caleb Wilson had 20 something, and the dagger bucket at Virginia, and he waved bye to the Charlottesville crowd. Like we could go on and on about how many freshmen there have been. And Braden Burry's had a good day. Cole Pete didn't have a great like. There are so many good freshmen in this sport right now, and it's so awesome because everyone gets upset about the G League guys also, the international whatever, but. It's perfect that the year that all this shit is happening with the G League guys and the pros and whatever and the extra years for transfers, the freshmen are the best players in the sport still because it's the best class ever. Like I love that. I absolutely love that. But shout out to all of them. Kingston, we didn't mention AJ much, but he does it every day. It feels like. So
Bro,
Kingston
he's
Flemings, Keaton Wagler, AJ DeBanza, 40 pieces. Caleb Wilson, Darren Pearson didn't even play, but Caleb Wilson, Cam Boozer had great days, and what was it? Darius Acuff had a great game also, a 30 piece. Like this is a ridiculous freshman class. NBA GMs have to be absolutely salivating.
Yep,
Salivating.
yep. Last one on AJ, because I know we didn't talk much about him, and I watched him in that game, and I know it's Utah, but he looked like a NBA All Star tomorrow. He was dominant.
Yeah.
Every time he touched the ball, you knew he was scoring, and he looked every bit of what you would want out of the number 1 pick, let alone the number 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah, and I think GMs will have a tough pecking order of what they're gonna do. I think that as of right now, I'll give you a draft order honestly at this point because let me make sure I don't fuck this up though.
Keaton Wagler 1.
I mean, shit. If you want to draft SGA, why not, right? making sure I pull up my at least a sheet I have of whatever. All right. As of right now, the 2026 NBA draft, it has to be. It doesn't have to be. The top three in some order are still Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, and AJ DeBanza. I personally think it's Darren Peterson, AJ DeBanza, Came, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, and AJ DeBanza. Sorry, wrong order. Darren Peterson, AJ DeBanza, and then Cam Boozer at 1, 2, and 3. And then a slight drop off. I think Kingston Flemings is 4 for me. I think that Keaton Wagler has to be 5 right now. The archetype he has of being that big, slithery guard who can do it on all levels and be a wing in the NBA at first, also like SGA and Jalen Williams and all these kind of players is amazing. Caleb Wilson at 6. After that, it's like a complete toss up where you have to think of, I'm trying to think, like LeBaron Philon, Michael Brown, Koa Pete, Jaden Quaintance, people love. Darius Acuff is up there. Hannes Steinbach, Yaxel Lendenborg, Tommy Houck, I think, are up there also. Braylon Mullins, I think, is an NBA one and done. Like, this class is actually crazy. And think about all of the older guys, right? Like, Isaiah Evans is not a freshman. And Josh Jefferson and Ade Mara and even like Henry Vasar, Merez Johnson. And then you get into all the international guys. Like, it's a crazy top of the class. So I know NBA GMs are happy. As a Hawks fan with the Pelicans pick, I'm thrilled.
I was just going to say, all those teams who have been loading up on first-round picks, good time to have them.
Let me tell you, let me break news to you. The Thunder still have a lot of them.
Yeah, I know they do.
I don't understand. Right now, they're projected, although maybe not. They have a lottery pick through the Clippers from the Paul George trade. I mean, come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I cannot believe that. They have the Sixers pick, and they have the Rockets pick. So they have 3 first-round picks. None of them are their own. Their own is going to Washington, but it's going to be pick 30. So they have 3 first-round picks in this draft. That's so unfair. That's so unfair. So unfair. We talked a little bit about before Houston-Texas Tech game. Texas Tech got that win. We love Kingston Flemings. You mentioned JT Toppin. Texas Tech got that win. Revenge for Houston getting the win at Fertitta Center in Houston a couple of weeks ago. I tweeted this out. I said if you were watching this Houston-Texas Tech game and you took away the records or even left them, you took away the numbers next to their team names, you would assume they're both top 5 teams in the country. And they could even be 1 and 2 if you're watching that game. Like, that's what it felt like when you were watching that game. And I love Texas Tech. I think Houston is an obvious certified title contender. Texas Tech, I'm on the border. I was on the border about even last week because of their lack of depth. I came away saying, why can't they win the national title? They went into their bench a little deeper. Luke Mboye is still hurt, so they're going to play 7 or 8 guys consistently when they're fully healthy if they get there. And it doesn't matter. Like, there are 5 or 6 guys they rely on the most are unbelievable. JT Toppin putting up a 30-point double-double against Houston of all teams, and them being able to put up 90-something points, and Christian Anderson didn't have an efficient shooting game at all. Like, he struggled a little bit. It is an absolutely ridiculously resilient team. I think both of these teams are amazing. And I think it speaks to the Big 12 and the style where I say it's the best league in the country, and it's my favorite league to watch because it's the best balance of everything. Offense, defense, pace, quality, NBA talent, good coaching, everything you want. And those types of teams are going to win in March. And that's why the Big 12 has been so good this year. The top 6 teams, maybe even 7 teams, are ridiculous. So
yeah, well, I mentioned this at the top of the episode, but coming out of this weekend, I think the 2 teams who have elevated themselves to obvious national title contenders are Illinois and Texas Tech.
And they played each other.
Right. And if you look at Texas Tech's losses, by the way, it's Illinois, Purdue, Houston, and Arkansas. Like, okay, sorry.
Right, exactly. So it's really not the end of the world at all. No. And I think about them just like as a whole when you go into March looking at their resume. You're like, okay, they had an early season skid a little bit. They got their ass kicked against Purdue in Baja Mar, which is kind of like a lot of teams have that right now in their resume. It is what it is. And then when they got to that Duke game, turning around that Duke game and somehow winning that game and that comeback in MSG, they've been a brand new team. That second half, it was their season all the way up to the first half of the Duke game was this like weird like, oh shit, like we actually might be in trouble and might like be dangerously like at a point where we might not win a tournament game this year because we're going to have a bad resume and we're going to have a tough seeding. The second half of the Duke game at MSG to now, up to date, they have been you can't argue that there have been 5 teams in the country better than them. You cannot in that span.
They've beaten Duke, BYU, and they damn near beat Houston twice in
Right, they split with
a
Houston.
month and a week.
You split with Houston, fine, you take it. It's okay. It's okay. But on the other side of the ball, like give credit to Houston too. I think they're the same way where they've only lost to Texas Tech and I guess Tennessee back in Players era. We talked about them enough. This is Houston teams gets better and better as Kingston gets better and better, as Chris Sinak gets better and better. So I love both these teams. They're 2 teams that I've been super high on. I actually went back and found my Final Four from the preseason. My preseason Final Four was Houston, Texas Tech, Duke, and Purdue. I feel okay about that right now.
I think you should.
I feel okay about that. I'm not going to lie to you. So Texas Tech one didn't look good to start the year, but it happened. So
I don't remember mine, but I don't think St. John's is going to make it.
You had St. John's there.
But I also had BYU, who I feel good about.
Let's just cancel your Final Four for.
That's not very nice. I think I got like 3 or 4. I don't know if I had the stones to put Michigan in there, but you know I was talking about them going far, so we'll see what happens.
While we're on title contender, we're talking about title contenders. I think it'd be good to go through the top X teams, even like 20, 25 teams, because I hit a realization this week that we are at like an all-time parity at the top of the sport, especially in the last few years where this is usually the point of the year where the 1 seeds, maybe some 2 seeds, like really, really separate from everybody else. The 4 1 seeds last year who were the Final Four, who were head and shoulders above everybody else when they got to the tournament, started separating now. But right now it feels like we have 14, 15 elite teams with a couple of stragglers right behind. So I think that bodes really well for an amazing March, especially a really good second weekend. Like Sweet 16 Elite 8 games, I think are going to be ridiculous this year. You might not see a lot of Cinderellas, I think like really low seeds, but I think the high seeds, if you chalk up the first 2 rounds of the bracket, Sweet 16 Elite 8 are going to be ridiculous this year, even if you have that. But nonetheless, elite parity at the top. Let's go through it. I'll let you lead the way if that's okay.
Well, I was going to say, by the way, for the first time since December 6th, Michigan is no longer the number 1 team in KenPom. It is Arizona.
Welcome. I mean, they are the best team in the country. So
it is Arizona. No, I agree with you. I think there's I'm looking at the KenPom rankings, and I think there are 12 teams who could win a national title. Legitimately.
We're going to find out right now. I'll lead the way, actually. I will bring up a team. I'll start at the top, obviously. I will name a team, and we will say title contender or not. And we can do like tier 1, tier 2, I think, because I know personally, at least before we even do it, I know I'll be like kind of iffy on some teams.
Sure.
Okay. National title contenders. Here we go. Let's start easy. I'm going to go by KenPom rankings, by the way, or should I go by AP poll?
Let's do KenPom rankings.
I don't feel good about that, but okay.
Okay, let's do AP poll. Whatever you want, Ryan.
I don't like the AP poll either. All right. Let's start at the top here. Is Arizona a national title contender?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Tier 1 for both of us, I assume?
Tier 1.
Okay. Michigan.
Tier 1, yes.
They are also a tier 1 title contender for me, although I'm watching the turnovers. I'm watching the turnovers very closely, especially the non-steal turnovers, the stupid mistakes. I'm watching you closely, Michigan. Just remember that. Duke.
Yes, tier 1.
I have them in tier 1 also. Like the guard play has gotten better and more consistent, and I'm not super worried, but it'll be a Final Four type of issue, if anything.
I have 3 tiers, by the way. I don't know about you.
Well, we'll get there. My third tier is I'm going to say no, and let's number 4 in KenPom, Michigan State, 18-2. Where do you have them? Want me to start?
Yeah, I was going to say tier 3, no, but they're close.
Michigan State is awesome. I don't think they can win the national championship. Their offense is not good enough. Right now, it is the 48th ranked offense in the country, and that's only because they beat Maryland by 90, which convinces me of nothing. They're amazing. Their defense is the best in the country. That can take them only so far. The teams that have won, you look at the last few national champions, and really every single one in the last 15, 20 years, basically every single one has like a top 10 offense by the end of the tournament. Like Michigan State doesn't have the upside to be that good of an offense. I know their defense is elite. Teams basically never win with their level of offense, and I don't think it's going to get infinitely better all of a sudden overnight now that it's going to be February next week. Like they're really, really good. They can obviously go to the Final Four. I don't think they can win the national championship.
Well, it's a good thing February is next week because, Ryan, as you know, the months of the year are January, February, and Tom Izzo.
Well,
I'm just saying. I agree with you, by the way. I don't think they can win a national title. Shout out to Jeremy Fears, 17-17 against Maryland. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, Illinois, who just beat Purdue at Mackey.
I think they can win a national title. They're probably near the top of probably the middle of my tier 2 list. I don't think they're quite bona fide tier 1 yet. They're just getting there. But if Keaton Wagler is going to continue to play like this, I don't know who's stopping them.
Okay, so this is a tough one for me personally. I thinking about the teams we're going to get to, I can't in good faith say that they cannot win a national title when Keaton Wagler is putting up a damn near 50 piece at Mackey before Kylan Boswell comes back and he isn't even playing this game. My worry for them is just defense overall and defensive consistency, interior defense. They're like barely a top 30 defense in the country right now. I know their offense is amazing, but again, it's the opposite of Michigan State. But the same thing.
Yeah.
Very rarely does a team like Illinois, built like Illinois with their strengths and weaknesses, win a national championship. It's very, very rare. But because there are so many title contenders and so much parity, I think if March was today, if the bracket was today, there could be a lot of different paths for them based on who could beat someone else, and it could suit up well for them. And again, if Keaton Walker is giving you 50, like how can you not win a national title? Like
By the way, they are. This is not an exaggeration. They are dead last in the country at forcing turnovers, percentage wise.
They're not going to win a national title doing that. They're not going to. I'll grab some stones. I'll move them to no. I'll go some stones here.
I will say yes today on January 25th, 26th because of Keaton Wagler, but if that rate keeps up, then they're not going to.
They were also 13th in the week 6A people.
Yeah.
Not top 12.
I said they're in the middle of my tier 2. They are, like, to the point of this conversation, I think they are the last team I would be like, yeah, I think they can.
Interesting. Okay. I thought you were going to be like almost tier 1, but it's interesting.
So did I, but I talked myself out of it because of the makeup of what Underwood teams usually do in March, and it's that turnover. The turnover percentage is always the same. They're always like
by the way,
5 in the country.
This is very similar to how Creighton's been built the last few years. Very different teams, but like they don't foul, they don't play defense very aggressively, and they kind of just say like, we're going to outscore you. At some point, someone's going to beat you. Someone's going to beat you. I'll take my chances that Illinois does not win the national title, even though I think they're awesome. Okay. Iowa State up to number 6 right now in KenPom.
Yeah, they can. Tier 2 for me.
Tier 2 for me also. The last 2 games have been a revelation after the Cincy loss and Kansas loss. They have Kansas and Houston that big week coming up in a couple of weeks. That's going to be massive for them, obviously, to prove that they are. Their depth beyond their trio is a little concerning, but the way they play is such a high floor of success and such a nightmare to play against. And when Milan's hitting and Joshua Jefferson's playing well and patiently, like it's going to be really, really tough to beat them. So I think they could definitely win. Number tier 2 for me also.
Me too. I took a lot of flack from Iowa State fans because of my panic meter last week. I want to make it very clear. I never doubted they could make the Final Four, but I'm not lying. You lose at Cincinnati like that, I'm worried.
Don't be worried anymore. Fear not. Okay. Houston out of the Big 12 also.
Yes, they could win a national title. They might be the first team I have in tier 2 because I know they could win a national title, but they're not quite like the upper. I have one more team left in tier 1 that you haven't named yet.
I have always been a Kellen. Oh, yeah, him too. I have always been a Kelvin Sampson truther and a Houston truther. There is no way in hell that I am going to doubt them winning a national title this year with experience from last year on their team, a possession away from winning it last year. Like I said, getting better and better. Kingston Flemings is that dude. They actually play. I'm going to do a new trapezoid. This is on Tuesday. This is a little bit of a sneak preview. They're outside the trapezoid. They're playing too slow and or not good enough at that pace, which I was still surprised at after a 90-90 game basically against Texas Tech. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I really don't care. Like there's no way you could tell me they can't win the national title. They're tier 1 for me.
I'm with it.
Okay, Purdue.
This is a really hard one.
It's very similar to Illinois because it's a really good offense, arguably the best or second best in the country, and their defense is at about the same spot. The last 2 games, losing at UCLA and then to Illinois, it was because of their defense. They couldn't stop Keaton Wagler. Brad Underwood. Matt Painter said that they didn't want a full switch because they didn't want to put themselves into rotations that would open up the shooters for Illinois. You probably should have at some point, to be honest, Matt, because 46 is a problem. And then the UCLA game, the last possession, they They didn't hard hedge on the Dent Bilodeau possession, and then their defense kind of flattened them out there. Defense is always going to be their downfall. I don't think they will win the national title. I keep them in tier two anyway, and I still think that they can. Which
Yep.
again, I took Illinois out, so why don't I take Purdue out? I think it's maybe the experience thing and those little things that aren't so analytical and metric wise and like quantitative, more of like gut feelings and things that I think you need to have to win a title. So I'll
Yeah,
keep Purdue in.
I think we're very aligned on this one. I just get a weird feeling that all these other guys are getting all this run and all this flack, and everyone's forgotten about good old Braden Smith, who's busy dropping dimes
I don't think
in
they
every
forgot
game.
about him.
I think he's due to hit a big shot at a big moment in a big game. I don't know when that's going to be.
He was really good down the stretch. He had a couple of huge shots in that game, but Keaton Wagler,
Okay. Forget about him. As the freshmen are taking over the sport right now. Is my point.
fair enough. Fair play.
I think they can win. They're tier two for me.
Okay, Gonzaga. People
Why don't you
forget.
start,
Talk about
Ryan?
a team people forget about. 21-1 Gonzaga, number 9 in Kempom right now.
They could. They got to stay healthy. I have them at tier two, but they could win a title.
I have them at tier 2 also. People doubt them. That's fine. Doubt them all you want. They're probably going to be 31-1 or whatever going into the tournament and like a 1 or 2 seed, and they're awesome. So I think they're definitely tier 2 for me. UConn.
My last tier one team, Ryan. Absolutely. Who's saying no at this point?
I have them at tier 2.
Ooh, I got them at tier one. I think they're four. I think Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and UConn are my absolute no-brainer. Yes, they can win a national title today.
So they're similar to Michigan State in a sense of like their defense is really good. Their offense has been very inconsistent. And like even against like Seton Hall in a couple of these games in Villanova, their offense has looked too stagnant against teams that they shouldn't be stagnant against, I think, too consistently. But it's a better version of that. They are still winning all their games. Their only loss is not fully healthy against Arizona, who's undefeated, and they're also UConn. They have experience. They have Alex Karaban, who's one of the most winningest players in college basketball history. They have Danny Hurley. Like they're UConn. Never in a million years was I going to put them not in tier 2 and in tier and then they couldn't win. But I have them at the high end of tier 2. So
Yeah, it's funny. The Big East is down this year, objectively down, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be a pain in the ass for someone like UConn to play in every single night.
yeah,
Because they're going to
for
get
sure.
every team's best every night.
I
And
just
they got
think
that from Nova the other night.
I just think in the Elite Eight and on, when they play against other elite teams night in, night out, 3 games in a row, I don't think they're going to beat 3 elite offenses who can put their defense to work and contain them on when they're on offense on the
Well,
other
that's the
end.
beauty
So,
of March is they may not have to. They may only run into 1 or 2 of them.
fair play, fair play. Okay, Florida.
Yes, tier 2.
I have no for Florida.
Yeah, I will say,
I love Florida.
week over week, things tend to change here.
I mean, we could put them on the panic meter and then the excitement scale every other week. We can't do it every week, but we can.
yeah, and I will say that like I'm bringing in a little of like last week bias because by the way, shout out Stephen Pearl, great win by Auburn.
Shout out, Steve.
That was not great at home for Florida, but
My worry for Florida was exactly what happened in that game.
yeah,
They not only were they basically shooting themselves out of a game at home against a team who was inferior to you when you're on the top of the SEC in a league that is all over the place. There were points in that game where Auburn, by the way, defensively had a great game plan. Clog the paint, make it really difficult for them to score, and then make them have to shoot to keep up with us if we could score on the other end. And they did that very well. Florida, they was getting to a point where Florida was passing up threes when they had 8 feet of space. Like, you are not winning a national title like that. And they're going to have to win 6 games in a row. Obviously, they just won 5 in a row, and then they lost to Auburn. And these were against teams that they were only playing the first weekend. It was against no elite teams at all. So my worry is that they're not like their guard play and shooting is so inconsistent and so hit or miss. There's no way they hit for 6 games in a row.
So I hear you on that. Based on what I've seen the last 3 weeks, Auburn game aside, if they are playing like that, they could beat anybody at any time. So like that's kind of why I lean towards they can win. I don't think they will.
I love Florida too. Those are my guys.
No, I know. Like perhaps more than anybody. But I don't know. There's just something there. Todd Golden's a great coach. The program knows what they're doing. They got the 3 bigs who have experience doing this before. I think they can.
Okay. Maybe they can. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong for them, for their sake. Okay, Nebraska. Undefeated Nebraska ball.
This makes me sad.
Say it.
I don't think they can win a national title.
Why not?
That's a great question.
You don't have an answer.
I,
I just
I think
silent.
I think the answer is I just don't think they're good enough. Like there's you could look at the analytical profile, their top 20 20 what are they 22 offense, their top 11 defense. It just
Okay, I'll answer it for you.
I don't
It's
feel it.
fine.
I don't
You're
feel it,
trying to be
Ryan.
nice. Trying to be
Yeah.
nice.
I love Nebraska. I want them to win.
They're incredible. They're awesome. Also, by the time we do that, like this week, they're playing Michigan and
I
Illinois. They
know.
might go 0-2. Who knows?
And they play Purdue next week, by the way.
Oh, yeah, good God.
And Rutgers.
I also. Oh yeah, sorry. I also have them as a no. I have Nebraska as a no. I also have specific reasoning, not just I don't know why.
I
They
have reasoning. I just it breaks my heart.
their no middle defense forces teams to shoot a lot of
Yep.
threes, a lot of contested threes. Someone will light them up in tournament. At some point, someone's going to light them up, and I think they're awesome offensively. Their players they're not good enough to go shot for shot if they're giving up all these making threes against a really good shooting team. They're not good enough to go shot for shot against every team in the country. They can definitely be a Final Four team. They can be there. I will again take my chances that they can win the national title.
Yeah, there's not one on this list I want to be more wrong about because they're a ton of fun and I love what they're doing. I think Fred Hoiberg, I don't think he has done a remarkable job. I don't think they're big enough. I don't think they can rebound well enough. I don't think they can stay hot against like the next 2 weeks, like obvious statement of the year coming. Their next 2 weeks against Michigan, Illinois, and Purdue are going to tell us a lot.
If they
Duh.
go undefeated this week, then obviously yes.
I mean, I really want it to be yes.
Okay, next team, Vanderbilt. I am a pretty hard no. They have gotten exposed by the size and athleticism way too easy multiple times.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, Kansas.
This is a hard. I'm at a no because I don't think Darren Peterson is going to stay healthy for the rest of the season.
I am at a no partially because of that, but also because they have not been great for more than
Yeah,
3 or 4 games in a row against a couple of shaky teams. Like before the Iowa State win, they lost against West Virginia and UCF and should have lost at home against TCU 3 games in a row. Like I don't think that they're anywhere near consistent enough to get there. So
nope. I
okay,
I agree. I think you're almost done with this list because I think I see what team you're getting to, Ryan.
BYU. I think BYU is a certified tier 2 title contender. You'd be silly to say that they're not.
If they're playing at their best, they can beat anybody. I agree.
Yes. Louisville. I'm a hard no.
I'm a no on Louisville. I'm very interested to see what you are on the next team.
Virginia. I am a no for Virginia. I love them.
Yeah.
Talked them up last week, and I'll still talk them up. The Carolina loss was pretty glaring in certain moments, but I think that like I even pondered on it last week. I was like, I don't know if they can win the national championship. They aren't playing against elite teams good enough, and now they're not getting elite wins nowhere near enough. Obviously, I just think they're very very good. They're really well built, but elite star power will beat them at some point in a really good game, like the Carolina game was.
Yep, really
That's my
well
thought.
balanced. They could probably match up their way to a Final Four if it sets up right for them. They go deep. They can stretch you out. They're a pain to play. Their defense is so good. I don't think they can win the national title.
Yeah, Texas Tech.
Why don't
Talked
you
about
start, Ryan?
We talked about them earlier. I'm a hard tier 2 yes on Texas Tech because
Yep.
they don't have good depth. They play 7 guys. Luke Bamboye healthy. They play 8, but he hasn't been healthy. But dude, the way their 5 or 6 guys play when they're on the floor is like something I have never seen in my life before. It is smothering. Even when Christian Anderson's not shooting the ball well, he's still
Yep.
playing well. JT Topping gives you 30 and 15 any given night. Lawan Watts, Nolan Groves off the bench. I love him. Jalen Petty is one of my favorite players in the country. Like just a true glue guy and an absolute pit bull. I love them. I think they're amazing. And they were a top 5 team in the country for me to start the year. They had that skid in November and December until the Duke game, like we talked about. And I was worried. And I was like, I guess I was just wrong. And they kind of can't close those games out. But I think they were there in a lot of those games. And it just took a second. It took that Duke second half to propel them. And the Big 12, I think, sets you up better than any single league in the country to win a national championship. So I'd be silly to not say Texas Tech. So where are you
Yeah,
at?
this is the last team on my list that I think can win one. You said it last week too. Like somebody said, they reminded you of Maryland last year, but the difference is that they have star power, like times 2, maybe the best 1-2 combo in college basketball.
Right. So like game on the line, 5v5, 2v2, one, whatever it
Yeah.
is, you say, great, we got the best players on the floor. You can't argue that. There's no way that you can convincingly say the other team is better.
Yep. Look,
So
look, they are an injury away from crumbling. There's just no doubt about it. But
don't say
I would
that.
never, ever put that on.
All right, you have no one else to add?
I think they're the last team on the list. Yeah, Alabama, Tennessee, Iowa, Arkansas, St. John's. I will tee this one up for you.
What about St. Louis?
That's what I was going to wait. That was
I'll
what I was
talk
gonna
about them in a
wait.
second. I want to recap the what's it called real fast. So you're no on. I'm just kidding. 2020 Dayton, dude. What do you mean?
I love St. Louis.
No, they can't. So do you have your list written out in front of you or no?
No,
I
but I
don't.
pretty much remember it.
I don't. We'll try to remember it. Let's
Okay,
recap it
here.
real fast.
My tier ones are Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and UConn. As certified, can win the national title.
Yes.
My tier two, I think I had Michigan State at 3, was Illinois, Iowa State, Houston, Purdue, Gonzaga, Florida, BYU. It's a huge list. It's probably too big.
No, it's not too big. This is what I was getting at. This is why we're doing this exercise. There are 10 plus teams who win the national title. How many teams is that
And
total?
Texas Tech was my last one, by the way. I think that's 10, 12,
Okay.
13.
My tier one was Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and someone else. And Houston. It's 4. I have Iowa State, Purdue, Gonzaga, UConn. I didn't give you an answer on Nebraska. Oh, I did. No, I did. I said no.
You said no.
UConn, BYU, and Texas Tech in tier 2. So that is 10 teams total on my list that can win the national championship. And we pondered on a few more. But the fact that there are 10 plus contenders and it's January. By the way, I said no to Illinois. No. There's 11. I can't reasonably have Illinois out and Purdue in. It makes no sense.
You said it, brother.
I guess I'll just stick to it. Whatever. It's a head-to-head thing because they're not going to play head-to-head the rest of the year. In March, they won't play head-to-head likely, so might not matter. Nonetheless, I have 10 title contenders. Illinois, I feel stupid not saying that they can.
I think I was at
So
12
that would be
or
11.
13. I think I was at 12 or 13, which is a lot. But I feel,
Yeah.
again, Texas Tech and BYU are the two lowest, quote unquote, on my list, and I mean they certainly can.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, yeah, it's gonna be fun in March to see how this kind of plays out, and even in 2 weeks we can come back to this and be like, well, that was bad. So, you mentioned St. Louis, maybe the best team ever. Thoughts?
I mean, I think I talked about Josh Schertz on episode 2 of this podcast.
Yeah, you did. He's a guy for sure.
He's a remarkable basketball coach.
We like to talk a lot about who are those dangerous mid majors that everyone kind of gets on the wagon for, like UC San Diego last year, like a lot of teams Dayton has before that a couple of years ago. Who are the mid majors that everyone kind of rides on and loves? This isn't even St. Louis isn't in that category of. It's too early for that. Usually it's mid-February and we're like, hey, watch out for this team in the A10, in the Mountain West, in the Big West, in the CA, whatever, Charleston. St. Louis is way beyond that. I did some research. I thought about it a lot. St. Louis, I'll say that this is the best mid-major that we have seen since COVID Dayton, since 2020 Obi Toppin Dayton. And I don't think that's crazy to say because go back and look at the last few years of the really elite mid-majors, right? Like UC San Diego last year was good, but not this good. San Diego State had a few years of being really good. Dayton in 2024, FAU when they went to the Final Four, but going into the tournament, I think FAU as a 9 seed that they were with Dusty May. Murray State in 2022 when they lost to St. Peter's, when they could have gotten to the Sweet 16 and even beyond that, was really good. I think that 2021 Loyola Chicago, who was top 10 on KenPom, but they got an 8 seed because they had a few bad losses earlier in the year, even though they still beat number 1 seeded Illinois in the second round, so they were obviously that good and arguably a top 10 to 15 team in the country. 2021 Loyola was very, very good. 2020 Dayton was obviously absolutely insane. 2021 Loyola got to as high as 10th on KenPom, but again, I mentioned that they had an 8 seed where and sadly, 2020. I was gonna say 2020 Dayton in March.
Yeah.
RIP.
2020. It's funny. I think you might be right. The Loyola Chicago team came to mind for me. I almost don't count St. Mary's and San Diego State anymore in this conversation because they're just always there.
I counted them in my head, but St. Mary's has never has never gotten to the Sweet 16 under Randy Bennett,
They're always
and
they're
they're
always
never
top
going
20.
to.
They're top 20, and that's it. I understand that.
And San Diego
State's different.
And I think in hindsight, it's easy to say, oh, FAU and San Diego State went to the Final Four. First of all, the paths were absolutely ridiculous. And two, I understand that, but in January, those teams were not as good as what St. Louis is right now. They were nowhere near as good. This is like the most prolific, balanced mid-major offense ever.
You know who the second best team to the 2020 Dayton team might have been is the 2020 San Diego State team with Malachi Flynn.
That's a good point. That's a great point. They were unbelievable. I would take that team, I think, over this. That's a good talk. Good point. But sadly, we didn't know how that tournament ended. Obviously, Dayton would have gotten a 1 seed, but we don't know how it would happen.
I assume Maryland won with Jalen Smith. That's what I thought happened.
And Anthony Cowan, yeah.
Yeah, Cowan, Smith. And
St. Louis, I did some research. St. Louis right now has 6 different guys averaging between 10.0 and 12.7 points per game. Crazy. They are the only team in all of Division I with 6 healthy playing double-digit scorers, and all 6 of those guys are averaging at least 1.9 assists per game, which is the wildest part to me. And then off the bench, beyond those 6, they have Ishan Sharma, who, if you watch their game against St. Bonaventure, he had 29 points.
Yep.
You would think he's the best player on the team, and he's like an NBA prospect.
That's how good they are.
Like, he is so smooth, such a good bucket getter. Like, he looked so confident in that game. It was free reign for him. That's how good they are. They also have Brady Dunlap, the Johnny's transfer off the bench. Like, that's how good they are, that those 2 guys, that really Ishan Sharma, who can look like the best player on the team in an NBA first-round pick in one game, is their 7th leading scorer, is absolutely insane. Some extra stats on them I wrote down also. They are 13th in offensive rating, 9th in bench points. They're shooting over 40% from three as a team. They are 5th in what I call analytical shots at the rim, combined at the rim attempts and three-point attempts. That's what analytics kind of tell you to shoot at. They have the 4th most fast break points in the country. Their defense has been good. It's not great. I think it's more of like their offense is so good, it forces teams to like havocly try to keep up with them, and it makes their defense look a little better. But I mean, man, dude, like in the tournament, the way this team plays, they have athleticism and length at the wing spots. They have balance. They are very, very obviously a top 20 team in the country right now. They can beat power teams and go to the Sweet 16 and maybe beyond that, 100%.
Yep.
1,000%.
This week, they get GW in Dayton. And then in a couple of weeks, they get VCU in Dayton in a matter of a couple of days. And then they finish with George Mason.
Yeah.
I think it's probably safe to say they're going to lose a game along the way.
Likely, somewhere.
Play this out for a second.
Okay.
Let's say they win out. And they, either lose in the conference finals or win the A-10, whatever.
Sure.
Let's say they win. Let's say they go 31-0, which is crazy to think about. But if they beat again,
they would finish 33-1 with the 33-1 with the A-10 tournament.
Yeah, right. I'm assuming they lose that. Oh yeah, because they lost to Stanford. That's right.
Right. About that. I can't believe they lost that game. But go ahead.
If they win out, hypothetically speaking, I think they're going to lose. But like, what seed do they get?
Let's think about it. Right, Dayton at this point in the year was 2020 Dayton, not just Dayton. I'm saying 2020 Dayton at this point of the year was like a top 5 team in the country already. Like they were already at that point of like, oh my God, this team's amazing. They lost to Kansas in overtime, the number 1 team in the country earlier in the year. Like they were very obviously on track to be a 1 seed if they won out. St. Louis is not on track to be a 1 seed. I will make sure everyone hears that. I don't think that a 2 seed is in their cards because if you look at their entire schedule left, they have 1 quad 1 game left.
VCU,
so, right. And if they win that game, they would be 3-0 in quad 1. They'd end up being like 6 or 7-1 in quad 2. They're top 20 in net and strength of record right now. So I think their ceiling is probably a 3 or maybe a 2. If they're 33-1, they probably get a 2 or 3 seed is my guess. Yeah. We also saw 2024 Dayton, I remember, was very good at this point. Literally on this day, they were 16-2, and then they lost 5 of their last 13 and got a 7 seed. So
I think
no. I'm just saying I think that bodes well for them. Like all I care about, we want St. Louis in the tournament. We don't want to see they got kicked out when they were Indiana State because of all the bid stealers a couple years ago. A lot of these guys and Josh Schertz and Robbie Avila were on that team. they can lose 5 games and still be in the tournament. Is my
Oh
point,
yeah.
and be a 7 or 8. Like they will be in the tournament. They will be playing in March Madness for sure.
As a
So
hashtag 2bit A10 Stan. By the way, I just happened to be wearing a GW shirt today. That was on purpose. I would love to see them more or less run the table here and then losing the championship to like VCU. I love VCU.
I think I'm going to go to that game, by the way. St. Louis VCU. You want to go? We'll talk about it after.
I would love to see VCU in the tournament.
Yeah. St. Louis right now, I'd say they're floating at about a 5 seed right now. Yeah. If they can even stay in this territory and be a 4 or 5 seed, I said like, oh, they could be power teams. The first round, they're not going to play a power team. They're going to play a mid-major team that they will beat. And then they're going to play a power team that they match up very evenly, if not better, against.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So St. Louis, best mid-major since 2020 Dayton. I'll stand on it. Again, I hope this isn't the kiss of death. I love them. I want to go to a game there. I'm planning on it. But they're awesome. You have to tap in. If you haven't watched St. Louis yet, come on now. Let's go watch St. Louis basketball. Yeah.
Let's go.
So, whatever. All right. Let's do a quick break, and then we'll do last couple segments, all right? Let's do panic meter, excitement scale, and then schedule Q&A, and let's get out of here, okay? I got a flight to catch in the morning, hopefully. Hold on. Let me check, actually.
Yeah, please make sure we're still alive here.
As of right now, my flight is on time.
Let's go.
Although I'm flying into Denver. Do you see the snowstorm today in that game, too?
Not great.
But it's supposed to stop. There's no way. No, manifest positivity. All right.
That game didn't count.
Let's start with the panic meter.
Yes.
I'm scared. Panic meter, I'm scared. Okay, let's start with... where should we start today? Let's start with Purdue. They lost 2 games last week at UCLA and then against Illinois. Keaton Wagler, 50-piece. Almost.
I'm at like a 3.5. We just talked about them as somebody who could win a national title, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend the sky is falling, excuse me. But I don't love it. I don't love somebody coming in their house, place like that, and dropping 46 on their head. But I'm at like a 3.5 the rest of the way here. They do get Michigan and Michigan State in like a month, but until then, they should win.
Yeah. I honestly don't think that differently of Purdue from before those 2 games. I know it's a bad week, but I'm at like a 2.5 just because like defense was already their issue. I'm not like they played again one of the best. If it's the best offense in the country right now and the best offense ever analytically, like I don't know. I don't really feel very differently. Their strengths and weaknesses are their strengths and weaknesses, and we already knew that. So what did I say? I'm at a 2.5.
They played the best offense in the country. Oh, and Donovan Dent. Forgot about him.
Who finally kicked up. Shout out Donovan Dent.
Yeah.
Number 2, let's go Ohio State. They beat Minnesota in overtime, and then they lost to Michigan on the road, which is what it is. But I just want to hear your thoughts on Ohio State right now as a Bruce Thornton and Ohio State truther.
I am a Bruce Thornton truther, and I still am. I want to make that very clear.
He's great.
I did pick Ohio State, I think, 3rd or 4th.
Silly boy.
My Big Ten. I don't think it's impossible. I'm at the 6 here. I think it's very clear that they're not good enough to go on some sort of crazy run that they're going to need to go on to. They're a bubble team at the end of the year. That is what this team is. I am at a 6. They might make the tournament. They might not. I don't know.
I'm at an 8 because if they don't make the tournament, it's a massive disappointment. I think that's fair to say. It's a massive disappointment this year for Ohio State. They are 5-4 in conference right now. Last year, at this point, they were 4-5 in conference, and people were kind of like, okay, analytically they're still good. They have a couple of bad losses, but a couple of decent wins.
They lost every game at the end of the year.
But we think they're going to be good. They had an inability last year to beat really good teams consistently. They have an inability this year to win big games and do it consistently on any level. And the way that tracks, if they do the same thing they did last year, like they already have up to this point, they're going to miss the tournament again. And that's why I'm at 8, because if they miss the tournament, Jake Dubler's fired and they have to reset.
Here's what I'll say real quick, a nod in your favor here. Still left on their schedule: Wisconsin twice, Michigan, UVA, Purdue, and
that's my point. They have showed no real consistency and signs of being able to beat these teams night in, night out, and back to anyway. So I'm at 8. So whatever. Hopefully a team that I'm going to see this week, don't know, Utah State. They lost at GCU, and then they lost home against UNLV, and then they went on the road and had a pretty resilient win against Colorado State. I personally am at a 1.5 because like they can't afford those bad losses. I'm at like a 3 actually. I'll say they can't afford those bad losses to put them in a territory anywhere near the bubble. But I still think that they're in a fine position, and they still think they're the best team in the Mountain West.
I'm a little higher. I'm at like a 4.5. I think San Diego State's going to win this conference.
Well, one of us is gonna be wrong.
And I assume it's going to be only one of us and not somebody else in the Mountain West that comes out of nowhere. But I don't love the way they looked. Grand Canyon is a tough place to play. ULV game, I don't know. Maybe you try to throw that out the window. I know Colorado State's not bad. It just feels like the wheels are coming off at a bad time here. They're about to get San Diego State. New Mexico looks great. They got to play Boise again. They got to play Nevada again. They got to play New Mexico again at the end of the year.
Yeah, but you didn't realize that I'm going to be there on Wednesday night, and that's going to help them.
You could say it could hurt them.
Purdue fans will say one thing, Florida fans will say a different thing. So
that's what I mean. I'm confident in their game on Wednesday, just to be clear.
They will win, yes.
I'm confident in that game. But I'm concerned about them making the tournament.
That's fair. All right, one last team. This is going to be an easy one. Syracuse, they are on a 3-game losing streak. They lost at Boston College and then at home against Virginia Tech in Miami, Florida. There's not a number on the scale that I'm at for Syracuse.
And the oop, 10, they need a new coach.
It's 10 is not even. Red Autry has to get fired this year for this program to move forward. I cannot believe that people thought that this team was going to be good this year. I genuinely cannot believe that. I feel bad for Syracuse fans because they're a year too far into the Red Autry kind of experiment or whatever you want to call it. Because he's a Syracuse guy, he should have been gone last year. He should be gone this year. You lose at BC in overtime in these games. Like it's so over. It is so over.
There was like a sliver of hope in Vegas when they went to overtime against Houston, and
they looked good.
The crowd was great against Kansas. Melo was sitting courtside. Like everything looked good, and then the wheels have just absolutely come off. Yeah, they're gonna be hiring a new coach next year.
They're toast. That's a good opportunity for them. Have fun. So,
yep.
All right, let's get excited.
Yeah,
excitement scale.
This is my. By the way, This is my excitement with 3 kids sleeping in the house. I have to
Yay. Hooray. Well, you know the meme was like, hooray.
Ooh.
It's like, it says, don't invite your grandma to your basketball game, and the sound, and it goes, hooray.
That's me.
Whatever. All right. Excitement scale. Let's start with Texas Tech, baby. Hey.
I mean, 9.5. Again, we just talked about them as title contenders, maybe the best duo in the country. So I'm at 9.5 on Texas Tech.
I'm at a 10. I love this team.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. They're great. That was simple. Let's go with Illinois after the Keaton Wagler 46-piece and win at Mackey.
Sure. 9.5, Ryan. Why not?
I'm giving out, like I said last week, I'm giving out 10s like they're free. I'll give out another 10. You can't look better than they did. That was perfect. It was great. It was amazing. That's what you want out of that game. So good for them. I got 2 more here. I got to find them. Here we go. Let's go with UConn. UConn is 19-1. They've been winning all their games. They have not been winning very convincingly, but they're winning every game.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I'm at a 10.
Yeah, I'm at like an 8.5 because I don't know. Yeah, they're winning games, but
again, I said this earlier. We kind of you kind of teed this section up very well today. I have them as one of the 4 bona fide tier 1 title contenders right now.
You did.
I think the Big East is a slog. I think they're going to lose a game along the way. That's fine. They are setting themselves up for a 1 or 2 seed in March. No questions asked.
Yeah, I'm at 8.5 because I'm expecting nothing less, but I'm happy for them and I'm excited for them. Last one, we'll go Kentucky. They're on a 5-game win streak, not versus the greatest teams in the SEC, but they beat Texas and Ole Miss this week. I'm at like a 4 for Kentucky still. I'm pumping the brakes. I'm happy for them and excited for them to be on the right side of the bubble very, very firmly, but I'm not going crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say a 5, so we're very close. Same deal here. This is their longest winning streak of the year. Vanderbilt and Arkansas this week. Those will be fun. At Calipari, not California.
Oh,
sorry, Mark Madsen. So they split those games, and all of a sudden things are looking really good for them. So yeah, they're going to make the tournament. I wouldn't want to play them, but
pass.
But they're going to lose.
I wouldn't be. I'd be fine playing them.
Depends on the matchup. They're going to out athleticism.
You know what they're kind of remind me like? They kind of remind me of Kansas last year because Kansas had a skid to a 7 seed.
Yeah.
Big blue blood name with clear talent and high expectations. They skidded to a 7 seed, and then they lost first. They lost first round.
They could totally lose the first round. They could totally win 2 games in March. I have no idea. But to your point, they're going to make the tournament. So
Okay, fair play. Let's do schedule and then let's do Q&A. Your homework this week. Listen, class is heating up. Finals, midterms are coming around. You better
bro,
come on now.
nobody likes Saturday homework, Ryan. Remember that before you dump the blizzard on them.
This is good homework. This is like the only fun homework you're ever gonna have. All right, here you go. I tried to trim down the main slate too because I list so many games all the time, but nonetheless, here are your games to watch. Monday, Monday, you got Louisville, a healthy Louisville at Duke, and Arizona at BYU. Oh my God.
I heard someone's going to be there.
Well, we'll see if the pilot gets me there or not. If I can have a plane to actually get me there, I'm gonna plan on being at the BYU game. We'll see. Tuesday, this gets better and better. Nebraska at Michigan, Tennessee at Georgia, GW at St. Louis, Purdue at Indiana, the rivalry, Kentucky at Vandy, and then I wrote UMass at Miami. I'm like, they are not playing until I realized it's Miami, Ohio. I was like, oh my God, Miami.
Don't call them that.
Every Miami University game is on the main slate until further notice. Wednesday, you got Texas, Auburn, Houston, TCU, and I put Wyoming, Utah State on there because I'm going to be there. That's the only reason why. Not a big Wednesday. Friday, Providence at Villanova, Michigan at Michigan State, and Dayton at St. Louis. Dude, the rivalry games this week, the big time matchups are loaded this week. And then Saturday, you got Duke, Virginia Tech, Texas Tech, UCF, Cincy, Houston, Texas A&M at Georgia, Arizona at ASU, SMU, Louisville, BYU, Kansas in what is the most hyped prospect game since Bird and Magic between AJ Debanta and Darren Peterson. That'll be College Game Day. Indiana, UCLA, Kentucky, Arkansas, UConn, Creighton, Murray State, Belmont. Absolutely love that game in the MVC. Auburn, Tennessee, and then St. Mary's, Gonzaga. It keeps going. It keeps going. And then Alabama, Florida, and Illinois, Nebraska on Sunday.
Let's pause for a second. Just take a deep
Pause.
breath. Wow.
Okay, now you
What
go.
week of basketball, Ryan?
Sicko me, baby.
Sicko schedule. We're getting into the depths of conference play here in some of these conferences. You said light Wednesday. I say important Wednesday.
Fair play.
Sam Houston State at Missouri State. USF at Tulane. By the way, there's a 6-way tie or a 5-way tie at the top of the AAC. Those are two of the teams. San Francisco Dons at Santa Clara. Ryan repping the sweatshirt as always. Thursday has the makings for some fun ones. Charleston at Hofstra at the top of the CAA. And Hawaii at UC Irvine, the top two teams out of the Big West.
Nice.
Friday, Kent State at Akron. Saturday, we kind of talked about this earlier, Cal Baptist at UT Arlington, who are the top two teams in a really fun 7-team conference out west. We had a duplicate, so I'm going to have to replace this one because I had Murray State at Belmont.
Oh,
throw that out the window.
Nothing sicko about watching some good NBC.
I wasn't sure if it was on your list, so throw that out the window. Santa Clara at Marymount. When in doubt, go there. And on Sunday, Wichita State at Tulsa. Two of the other teams tied at the top of the AAC.
Love it. All right, let's do Q&A. I will start today. We have 2 questions. We each have one. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I will start. This is my first time reading the full question. I'm not going to lie. From Sam Brasina, Breezy Base 16521 on Twitter. That's what I'm on.
Breezy
Should Gonzaga,
Breezy Base.
Should Gonzaga and UConn be top 10 teams? They're barely beating teams that they should beat easier, and they don't look as good as other teams outside of the top 10. I think they 100% should be because this is like the fatigue of teams like this. And to be fair, the Big East is similar. Like UConn, I saw Evan Miyakawa actually make the comparison about UConn won't be able to win the national championship because of the reasons Gonzaga really never has. Is they get fatigued by not playing. They're not used to playing the caliber of opponent they need to for March, leading up to March, and that is the issue for the Big East for UConn. But again, you still have decent teams, and you have off nights, and things happen, and you have a lot of games to play, so you're not going to convincingly beat everybody. UConn and Gonzaga should absolutely be top 10 teams. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Okay. I have no comment. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Ryan, Philip Bender on Instagram wants to know, is Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie a top 5 duo in the country?
Without sitting here and going into depth on everybody, I'll say no, they're not. Nate Ament has not been consistent enough to say that about that duo, and their offensive fluctuation and variability has been too high.
By the way, he didn't even come up when we were talking about the freshman on Saturday. He was remarkable.
I think I barely mentioned him real fast, but he was fantastic. Yeah. So, no, I'll say they're not, but it's still a really good duo. It's probably top like 15 in the country, I would say, off just like random gut check. So
All
there
right.
you go. That's going to do it this week. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, being here as always. Like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, yada, yada. Share it with somebody you love.
Utah.
Hopefully I'm going to be in Utah. If not, I'll be here at my house, snowed in for the snow. So we'll see. Appreciate y'all as always, and have a great week. Goodbye.